Hello everyone, I'm Haris and I came to Japan in 2020 on MEXT Scholarship to study Masters in Tokyo Tech. And in this video, I will explain the very important part of MEXT application process, which is to contact professors and choose your university for higher education. So this step is not only for MEXT scholarship, and it is actually for every other scholarship to come to Japan. And even if you want to take admission in Japanese university on self-finance basis, you still have to go through this step, which is to contact professors and then getting admission in the university. So if you apply in the embassy recommendation track of MEXT, the first step would be the shortlisting of your application and then test and interview. And after that, you will get the acceptance for the scholarship from the embassy. So after that, you still have to take admission in Japanese university. And for that, you have to contact professor, and then based upon that, you will be getting admission in the Japanese university. So that is the end of the process. But if you come through the university recommendation track, your application process will start from this point, which is to contact professors, send your documents, and then based upon the professor acceptance, you will have admission in the university. And on top of that, if you apply for the MEXT university recommendation seats, you will have some additional screening, and that will decide if you get scholarship through the university or not. And even if you don't apply for the scholarship and you get admission on the self-finance basis, you still have to apply through this process, which is to first contact the professor. And I will make another video to explain that how much does it cost to study on self-finance in Japan, in private university or in government university. Yeah, so please stay tuned with me and I will upload that video very soon. So I will divide this video in three parts. The part one will be about shortlisting the universities and the professors. In the part two, I will explain that how should you draft your email to send to the professors. And in the final part, I will explain that which documents you should attach with the email to send to the professor. And along the way, I will also be sharing some pro tips which help me along the process and which I learned from the seniors. So please make sure to watch this video till the end, and I hope you will find it very useful. Okay, your first step is to shortlist the universities, and that will start from a simple Google search. And on Google, you should first search based upon your major. For example, top universities in Japan for mechanical engineering, top universities in Japan for business administration. And you can also search based upon the city you want to stay in Japan. For example, top universities in Tokyo, top universities in Osaka. And you should also search that which universities are providing English programs in masters, and for PhD, most of the universities have their programs in English. And I want you to take top to bottom approach to shortlist the universities. So for example, based upon your preferences, you should select top 5 universities where you want to study. And if you don't get any positive response from those universities, you can go further and find other 5 universities you are interested in. So after shortlisting the universities, the next step is to shortlist the professors from those universities. So for that, you simply have to go to the university's website and try to go to the tab where there's a list of departments. And if you go to the web page for each department, there will be a list of professors or the list of labs from specific professors in that department. And you should read the web pages of the professors in detail and try to shortlist 5 to 6 professors from one department and try to make a list of them. And you should note down the emails of the professors or their specific research areas and try to make a table and do that for each university, and you will be having a list of 20 to 30 professors. And if you don't find the emails of the professors on the department webpage, you can freely contact the university's admission office and ask them to provide you the emails of some specific professors, and they will be very happy to do that. So here is the first pro tip from me. So along with looking at the profiles of the professors, it's also important to look at the web page and try to find that what is the environment of the lab. So for that, go to the list of the members of the lab and try to see if there are any other international students in the lab. So usually the labs with the international students have their communication in English, and those labs are easy to work in. So if I share my personal experience, I sent email to almost 30 professors, and out of them I got replies from 10 professors, and 5 of them said that they are not taking any new students because of their retirement or the lab space was not enough, but 5 of them gave me positive replies, and out of them I had interviews with 3 professors and I got admission in those 3 universities. By the way, if you think these videos are useful for you, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and help me to reach 1000 subscribers. So after you have shortlisted the professors from the top universities of your preference, the next step is to emailing those professors. And I will share you my recommended draft of the email, and the first most important part is the subject line. There can be different ways to write the subject lines. So personally, I use the lab's name to write in the subject line. For example, request to work in this lab, request to work in this lab. And you can also write the name of the department. For example, request to take admission for masters in this department. So if you are coming from the embassy recommendation track of the MEXT, you should also mention that in the subject line. For example, if your embassy's application is already approved, that means that your funding for the scholarship is already approved. So you can simply write embassy recommended in brackets in the subject line. And the next and very important part of the email is how you should address the professors. Please avoid writing dear sir/madam or dear professor. Try to write the name of the professor, and that gives them impression that this email is being written to them only and it's not a generic email or just a spam. So here is my pro tip. Instead of writing the professor's title in English, you can also try writing the title in Japanese. For example, professor in Japanese is called sensei. So you can use this word with the second name or the family name of the professor and write something like Dear Tanaka Sensei. So that gives them impression that you are already a bit familiar with the Japanese culture, and that will give them a very good impression. You can go one step further and you can even write the greeting line in Japanese. For example, konnichiwa in Japanese is good afternoon. So you can write that as the first greeting line of the email. In the next part, try to use 3 to 4 lines to introduce yourself and try to explain the task or the purpose of the email. For example, you can simply write, my name is Haris Gulzar and I want to take admission for master's course in Tokyo Tech, and I have been already approved for Embassy Recommendation Track Scholarship. In the next section, in 3 to 4 lines, try to highlight your major achievements so far. For example, any thesis you have written in your previous degree, any conference paper you have submitted or it was accepted, any journal paper or anything like that, or even your job experience. In the next paragraph, try to explain the summary of your research, what you want to work on. It just be 2 to 3 lines, and just try the keywords from your research and also try to use those keywords which are also relevant to professor's profile. So this part is very important. So you should be try to align your interest and professor's expertise by using some specific keywords related to that specific professor. So if you write your emails in a generic way, so these keywords will be very different from professor interest. So that will make professor not interested in your email. So please try to modify these keywords and try to make them specified according to professor's expertise. So here is another pro tip. While you are shortlisting the professors while reading on their profile on the website, try to read some of their papers or the recent projects they are working on, and try to mention those papers or research projects in the email, and that will leave a very good impression on the professor that you have already done some research and you already know what the lab or that professor is working on. So it should be as customized as possible. It shouldn't be generic. So try to make it very personalized, and more personalization means you will get better response. And finally, conclude your email with saying that I have attached these documents in the email and I'm looking forward for your response. And after that, add a very proper signature where you should write your complete name, your email address, your affiliation. Okay, so the next part I want to explain is what documents you should attach in the email. So if you're coming through Embassy Recommendation Track, Embassy will give you a provisional acceptance certificate. So you should definitely attach that with your application or with the email. And Embassy will also attach your research proposal and also some of your academic documents. So you can also attach that. But even if you're not coming from Embassy Recommendation Track and you are directly applying through University Track, The most important documents are your CV and your research proposal. I want to briefly discuss the layout or the structure of the CV which you should attach with the professor's email. Your top section on the CV should be your objective, and that is the same which you written on the email as well. For example, you have done this kind of job and you have worked in this kind of field, and now you want to pursue your higher studies in master's or PhD in this specific domain, and you are looking for admissions for master's degree or PhD degree. And the next important part is writing about your research interest, and this should actually be personalized or customized based upon professor's profile for each email. If there is more relevance or more overlap of your research interest with the professor's profile, the chances of reply from the professor are higher. So you should put a very serious focus on this part and try to customize it for each email and for each professor. So if you have some research background and you are applying for master's or PhD degree, in the next section, which is the relevant work part, so you can explain your relevant activities or the job experience or even some research activities which you have done so far. So the next section is about the publication. So if you have any publications already, you should list all of them here. And even if you don't have any publication, try to write the title or a very brief summary in 1 or 2 lines of your thesis from your previous degree. And all of the sections until here are very relevant and personalized according to the professor's profile. And after that, you should explain your educational background, like which degrees you have done so far. And actually, you don't have to write your complete educational background. Writing from undergraduate onwards is enough, and writing about high schools and middle high school or college is not necessary. So this was about the CV, and the next important document is research proposal. Actually, it's better if you have research proposal for each professor, and you can customize the research proposal a little bit for each email. But if you don't have a research proposal, please avoid sending any generic research proposal with your email. You can actually decide your research theme after discussing with the professor once the professor is interested in your profile. So until here, I have explained that how you should shortlist the professors from the university's website and how you should draft your email and which documents you should attach with your email. And lastly, the important part is to track your emailing progress, because you will be sending emails to 20 to 30 professors at the same time. So it's very important to track a progress of your emails. For example, you can create some columns of the status of the email. For example, which professors have replied positively, which professors have not replied yet, and based upon that, for example, after 4 to 5 days, you can also send reminders to those professors. So this video was about emailing and contacting the professors, which is very important part of the MEXT application process. And I will be making videos about more interesting topics about studying in Japan. And if you have any questions from the MEXT or from this video, please feel free to write in the comments and I will try to answer as much as possible, or try to reach me directly on my socials and I will look forward to connect with you. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you all the best for your scholarship applications.